Good evening, everybody. I will call us to order. Yay. And our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and we'll have the roll call. Director Andrade.
Here.
Can we turn the mic on, please? No worries.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Director Hodges.
Here.
Director Rosen.
Here.
Director Hatcher.
Here.
President Lamnin. I'm also here. Thank you so much. Thank you. And as this meeting is being translated, we ask everybody to speak at a moderate pace and enunciate clearly and speak into the microphone, even if you don't think you need it. Okay, so we have a report out from from our June 15th closed session. I've been advised to clarify the action taken at the closed session at that meeting on June 15th. On June 15th, 2026, the Board of Directors unanimously appointed 5-0, appointed Adrienne Lee Bird, Recreation Arts and Community Services Director, to serve as acting general manager through July 6th, today, unless General Manager Wheeler returned sooner. General Manager Wheeler is expected to return tomorrow, July 7th, and Ms. Bird's appointment as acting general manager would conclude upon his return, upon Mr. Wheeler's return, consistent with the action that we took at that meeting. And I'll also add just a profound appreciation to Ms. Bird, as well as the organization as a whole for pulling together in this time. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much. Anything else on that? All right. Thank you again, Adrienne. Okay, now we get to introduce a new employee, which may not be you yet, but someday it will be. I have no doubt. Who's doing the honors?
Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. I am very pleased to introduce our newest bond project manager, Carly Banke. You may recognize her. Carly previously worked with landscape architectural firms, one of our on-calls, and has managed a variety of projects through planning and construction and closeout. As a regular on-call consultant, we worked on several Measure F1 bond-funded projects, including El Rancho Verde and Fairmont Terrace. She has in her career managed capital improvement projects for public parks, athletic facilities and schoolyards, and brought up very strong commitment to creating public spaces that expanded access to recreation and served diverse populations. Her former peers and supervisors acknowledged that Carly was very outgoing and a positive go-getter. She made connections by being collaborative, cooperative, and took initiative to communicate. Carly was very committed to her job and always willing to put in time to ensure that everything was done, well done, and without issues. Outside of HARD, you will find Carly enjoying the outdoors with her family by camping, hiking, gardening, cycling along the bay, or running around a softball field at San Lorenzo. And then Carly also spends her time cultivating her love of food by exploring new restaurants, creating meals with her families, and hosting her own bake-off in her kitchen. We're very thrilled to have Carly join the capital planning and development team. And do you want to say a word?
This on. Hi, good evening. As Megan mentioned, my name is Carly, and I know a few of you, and I'm pretty sure with my last 10 years living here in San Lorenzo, I'm really excited to be a part of a team that lets me make a local impact to my community here. And at the same time, having the experience of working with HARD as a consultant on various Measure F1 bond projects, I'm really excited to kind of help see through the last remaining ones that we have here. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this great team, and I look forward to being able to work with you all more in the future. So thank you.
Welcome to the big green tent. And we're gonna do a picture because we're super excited to have you. All right.
Madam President, may I just tell a quick story because it was a Carly story and she's not here. But I first met, I believe it was the Rancho Verde and the Tree View, and it was such a grandiose design. Like it was had everything you ever can imagine, and the way she explained it and described it, everybody was like just buying into this because it was her personality with the design at the same time. And from that time on, I was just like, I always say you can teach a subject to anybody, but you can't teach personality. And so when someone has it, I'm glad we've corralled people from many locations to be able to corral that personality. So it just adds great catch, great call, and good leadership to bring in good people.
Terrific. Thank you. Super fun. Okay, let's talk about parks make life better because they do.
You. Good evening, Honorable President Lamnon and Honorable Board of Directors. Adrienne Lee Bird, Director of Recreation, Arts, and Community Services. Tonight, in recognition of the role of parks and recreation that they play in enhancing health, wellness, and the quality of life in the communities served by the district, in support of CPRS's statewide Parks Make Life Better campaign, I'll be reading a proclamation. Okay. Whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness, play, and activity. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports the economic vitality of communities by partnering with local businesses and nonprofits and offering events for residents' engagement. And whereas Parks and Recreation creates memorable experiences through youth sports and enrichment activities, teen centers and programs, senior activity centers, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. And whereas Parks and Recreation fosters social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, providing spaces to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, and emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthens community identity by providing facilities and services that reflect and celebrate community character, heritage, culture, history, aesthetics, and landscape. And whereas Parks and Recreation facilitates community problem and issue resolution by providing safe spaces to come together peacefully and serving as key points of service, helping our communities heal both physically and emotionally. And whereas Parks and Recreation sustains and stewards our natural resources by protecting habitats and open space, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of parkland. And whereas Parks and Recreation supports safe, vibrant, attractive, progressive communities that make life better through positive alternatives offered in their recreational opportunities. And whereas Parks and Recreation maintains versatile and innovative in providing vital services to communities through local, national, or global emergencies, all while adhering to guidelines set forth by governing agencies. And whereas the California Park and Recreation Society has released a statewide public awareness campaign, Parks Make Life Better, to inform citizens of the many benefits of utilizing parks, facilities, programs, and services. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Directors of the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District hereby declares July 2026 as Parks Make Life Better Month and encourages residents to recognize and celebrate the positive impact of parks, recreation facilities, programs, trails, and open spaces throughout our community. So staff is recommending that the Board of Directors proclaim July 2026 as Park Makes Life Better Month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's good stuff in that resolution. And do you want to take 30 seconds and talk about the challenge that's on for this month, just to fill it out? I should have asked you that ahead of time. Sorry.
Sure. This month, we are having a challenge that we are highlighting the many various free opportunities throughout the district, basically focusing on various areas.
that bring communities together, build stronger communities. And there's a little map that you can follow along online and submit your photo at the different activities or places and possibly win the grand prize of $200 toward any of our programs, and many other fun swag items for the first 150 participants.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes.
I just want to say, as you have seen, I've also seen on social media, our team has it out there in a really fun way, talking about this as this big, a big fun event and things that everyone can do to participate. It's a fun thing to do during the summertime. And it gets people out to actually see some of the parks and some of the activities that they might not know about. And more importantly, their other family members. It's a really positive, whoever came up with that, great idea. I just think it's great.
Great. So happy Parks Make a Life Better month to all of us. Moving along to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
There is no one online for public comment.
Fair enough. All right, that brings us to our consent calendar, which is item 7.1, 2, 3, 4. Any items that need to be pulled? Yeah, 2. Okay, do you want to make a motion for the remaining 2?
Sure. I would like to make a motion for the consent items except for 7.2.
Oh, I thought you meant 2 items.
No, I
You
just
meant
meant
7.2.
7.2.
Okay, so motion from Director Rosen to move 7.1, 7.3, and 7.4 as presented.
I'll second.
And second from Director Andrade. Thank you. Any further discussion on the item? If not, we'll go to vote. And that passes. Thank you very much. 7.2, Director Rosen.
Yes. Had a couple questions about this. Could you explain this program and who came up with the grant for this and who applied for it and how this is serving the community? Because when I read about this, told my wife, I didn't even know we're doing this. This is great.
Oh, of course. Adrienne Lee Bird, Director of Recreation, Arts, and Community Services. So our arts supervisor, Alice Rice, applied for the grant. She wrote it. Fantastic. And she has a pretty extensive background with grants and development. This is a CPUC grant, and it's aimed at providing digital literacy opportunities for the community, mostly underserved communities. And as our art supervisor, who's highly creative, we spun it so that we're able to continue on with our after-school free programming, arts education programming at Weeks Community Center, really focusing on digital arts. And then with this grant, there's also a portion of education and going out into the community. So we'll also be going out into South Hayward schools to bring some of those lessons forward. So sharing it in both directions. And yeah, it's a great opportunity. We're actually going to be looking at applying for this grant for Sorensdale as well as our senior center.
And it also has materials too, like people can get computers
Yes.
or
Exactly.
This was amazing. I just thought it was a great way for people to get access to this stuff and to learn how to use them and actually find ways to use some of our programming with it. And again, there's another thing that I didn't think anybody knew about.
Yeah, it's a win for all.
Oh,
so.
it's great.
Yep, thank you.
I have a question on that also. Is the implementation of that funds, is it like geographically specific to, like, is it applied for certain school districts, certain geographic areas, certain
But for this
demographics?
program, we specifically looked at South Hayward out of Weeks and then South Hayward schools. But we actually just submitted last Friday for 2 follow-up grants for the same program for Sorensdale. So our participants with special needs as well as our senior centers, so our senior programming.
So it is geographically specific on application of the grant?
Not necessarily geographically specific, but program specific,
Programmatic,
since
okay.
we write a whole program proposal around
I
it.
just want to have my right terminology down. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Anything else on this item? All right, then I will accept a motion on 7.2.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion from Director Rosen, second from Director Hatcher on the item. That passes unanimously, and I'll add my congratulations and appreciation as well. Okay, that brings us along to our unfinished business, which is irrigation.
Be surprised that we didn't.
There you are.
Hold up to ask you about your election.
Good evening, President Lamnin and honorable board members. My name is Monty Boyd. I'm a project manager with the bond program. Tonight, I'm introducing item 10.1, asking your board to consider the adoption of a resolution to accept the completion of the irrigation systems improvement project. Back in October of 2021, your board authorized a consulting service agreement with Montgomery and Associates to assess failing well and pump systems at 7 district parks. Their efforts resulted in a scope of work for each park that is summarized in your agenda item 10.1. The work to repair and replace the various well systems began late in 2022 with the rehabilitation of the well at Southgate Park and is concluding this week with the installation of a new well at Kennedy Park. The work was delivered at each of the 7 parks separately via individual board awarded construction contracts, which is also summarized in agenda item 10.1. The budget for this project was $2,900,000 and the final project cost was $2,457,000, leaving a surplus of approximately $443,000. Following the project's acceptance by the general manager, staff will record a notice of completion with the Alameda County Recorder's Office and release the balance of the project retention owed. Staff now recommend that the Board of Directors, by motion, approve a resolution for the acceptance of the irrigation systems improvement project and authorize the general manager to execute any documents necessary to close the projects. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We spoke earlier in the work session about statistics about our various projects, and one of those statistics that's really remarkable and is borne out again here, I know my colleagues are going to comment on it, is about the number of projects that came in under budget and on time, and so just appreciate that as well as the great things that this project is going to do for the district.
Yeah, thank you.
I will turn it over to Director Rosen.
I'm just thinking about what I want to say. Go ahead. Yes.
It, in the report, it talked about, I mean, I remember Centennial being canceled for budget. Just kind of clarify, was that, I mean, that high cost? Is it future development? I mean, what kind of was a theory behind
It was on the bubble for cost. It needs a new well, it needs the destruction of the old well and an installation of a new well. Comparing costs that were coming in for similar wells at Mission Hills and at Kennedy, it's pushing about $1 million to get a new well installed. So so it was on the bubble. I think in a study session, we decided to leave it out so that we could focus on picking off some other improvements, non-new well projects at some other sites.
Yeah, because I mean, that potentially will be a, future site for something larger. So I just appreciate the kind of forethinking of like, the ideally, yes, it'd be great to have it, but so some of the savings probably had that was a component of it, that
Yeah.
443.
And I don't
obviously.
know the long-term planning for that park, if there's other plans for that park that may impact the amount of turf. There's a large amount of turf now.
Yeah.
So that may factor in as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move 10.1.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. We're eager to make those motions tonight. That's okay. So moved by Director Hatcher, seconded by Director Hodges on the motion. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to Tabor Park.
Good evening, Director, President Lamnin, and honorable members of the board. This is Dwayne Taylor, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. Tonight, I'm asking that the Board of Directors will consider adopting a resolution to authorize the general manager to enter into an agreement with MIG Incorporated to prepare the California Environmental Quality Act documentation and supporting technical studies required for the Taper Park repairs project. The district is preparing to repair landslide damaged areas within Taper Park along Faircliff Street in Hayward. The proposed project includes drainage and slope stabilization improvements designed to restore the damaged areas and reduce risk of future slopes. The project also includes improvements in two areas. Area A, which consists of drainage improvements, including construction of a steep drainage channel with rock chutes and step pools to convey stormwater runoff to a detention basin before discharging into the existing storm drainage system. Area B consists of slope stabilization improvements, which may include slope grooming and erosion control measures, slope regrading, or landslide reconstruction using engineered fill compaction, erosion control matting, and debris walls. Before any construction may begin, the district must complete an environmental review in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, better known as CEQA. Based on the scope and nature of the proposed work, preparation of an initial study, mitigated negative declaration, and supporting technical studies is required. So MIG has submitted a proposal to provide the environmental review services necessary to support CEQA compliance. The proposed scope of work includes preparation of the initial study and mitigated negative declaration, biological and cultural resource studies, public notices, and agency coordination. The financial impact for this is $85,642 plus a contingency amount of $8,565 for a total authorized amount of $94,207. The agreement will be funded through the capital reserve budget in the general fund. Costs associated with the environmental review are anticipated to be eligible for reimbursement through the Federal Emergency Management Agency known as FEMA Public Assistance Program, which is subject to final approval and compliance within applicable federal requirements. The project currently has advanced to FEMA's large project review phase, the final stage of FEMA's funding approval process. So staff recommends the Board of Directors by motion adopt a resolution authorizing the general manager to execute an agreement with MIG Incorporated for preparation of CEQA documentation and supporting technical studies for the Taper Park repairs project in the amount of $85,642, and also authorizing the general manager to execute the agreement and any documents necessary to complete the work, including approval of a contingency amount not to exceed $8,565 for a total authorized amount of $94,207. I'm willing to answer any questions you might have.
Terrific. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
So just to clarify, so we're allocating up to $94,000 and we are expecting to get that back?
That would be included in the cost that we recover through the FEMA allocation for this project. But as of right now, the funding, we haven't received the obligation letter from FEMA. So we're waiting to see how much they're actually going to award. But we believe we're going to get the monies. We just haven't received it in our FEMA grant portal. So we have an early estimate of the construction costs for this project. And we can talk about that more, but we have that information from the designers on this project.
So in addition to construction costs, we're going to also get the
FEMA.
design cost and the CEQA application stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to continue on that conversation, but it could be like tiered to where they're not going to pay the full amount, or is it kind of an all or none?
That's going to be FEMA's ultimate decision, but for what we anticipate and what has been received previously with this as one of their large projects, it takes longer for the review process, but we anticipate that they will cover this project.
Okay, good. I had a second question here, why is it coming out of capital reserve rather than the general capital? I can kind of see that historically that comes out of the reserve for our repairs.
Yeah.
So if you refresh me on that, it comes out of our reserve.
Maybe that's a conversation that we can have more further dialogue on. as of right now, it would have to come out of the general fund. We assume that it was a capital reserve fund. What did I mention? The capital reserve budget in the general fund.
Yeah.
So that's what we anticipated the funding
Yeah.
source would be.
Makes sense.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else? Nothing online, correct?
No public comment online.
Okay, thank you. Just figured I check in periodically. All right. Then I will accept a motion on this item.
I'll move.
Thank you, Director Andrade. I'll second. I will second this item. I had a question. No, I appreciate the moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we all have the opportunity to vote. And that passes unanimously. All right. Thank you very much. Now on to virtual court.
Madam President. Okay.
There, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Marvin Yee, Bond Project Manager. Good evening, Madam President and Board of Directors. The item before you is the approval of a concept plan for the 2652 Virgil Court Laurel Development Project. By way of background, in April 2025, the Board of Directors authorized the General Manager to acquire a portion of the Laurel Elementary School property from the Hayward Unified School District, located at 2652 Virgil Court in Castro Valley. The property was acquired in November 2025. Following acquisition of the site, staff conducted a public outreach and design process to develop a community-driven concept plan for the approximately 1/2 acre northern portion of the property. For today's presentation of the concept plan, Beth Matz with BFS Landscape Architects is joining us virtually. I'm not sure how this works, but is Beth online? Okay. And Beth also has slides to present along with her presentation.
Good evening, board members. My name is Beth, and I am a landscape architect at BFS Landscape Architects and principal here, and I will begin sharing my screen. We're excited to be here tonight to walk you through the preferred concept at the future neighborhood park at Laurel School. What we wanted to talk about this evening was just the project process and outreach, how we came to the preferred concept, a little bit of a general overview of the concept plan, and we're happy to answer any questions that you folks may have. Just as an overview of the project schedule and process, as Marvin had mentioned, we began this process in March of 2026, and we laid out with HARD staff a fairly robust community engagement process. This process included 3 in-person meetings. It was supported by 2 online surveys. We also had a board study session after the first meeting and the first survey completed and concluded. And then we came back for another board study session in June. And so between March of 2026 and now July, we have really gone through and worked with the community as well as HARD staff to develop this preferred concept plan. And then after tonight's board meeting, we are looking forward to the next steps, which would include the design and permitting of the process or the project between July and March of 2027. And then we're hoping to begin construction in the summer of 2027 and looking at a park opening in spring of 2028. In terms of community engagement and outreach, our three in-person meetings were held on site at the future neighborhood park school, right by Laurel Park School. And all of the community engagement, both the announcements, the mailers, the online surveys, and the materials were all provided in both English and Spanish. For our first community meeting, we did do a direct mail campaign, and that was sent out to over 4,000 addresses. At our first meeting, we had 35 folks attend the meeting in person, and we had about 67 online survey responses. After the first meeting, we moved into the development of 2 concept alternatives. And it was at community meeting number 2 that we presented these concept alternatives. Again, we did a direct mail campaign to over 4,000 residences, as well as had postcards distributed to the Montessori School and First Presbyterian Church. We also had at that meeting 17 people attend in person at the park site, and we had 57 online survey responses. And then for our last community meeting, which was at the end of May, similar to the other in-person events, a direct mail campaign was done, which reached out to over 4,000 addresses. We also sent out email invitations to 118 folks, as well as had social media announcements. And at that meeting, we had 26 folks attend. During the community engagement process, as we were beginning to understand what the priorities, the needs, and the wants of the local community were, and as we began to refine from 2 concept alternatives down to 1 final concept, I think we can really summarize the community priorities as the following. One was to preserve a flexible green open space. Currently, the park site is half an acre and is predominantly covered in a natural grass. The other priorities we heard were walking loops and seating. There was a desire for a nature-focused and family-oriented play area. We wanted to emphasize the ability to create gathering and social spaces for the local community and the neighborhood. It was very important to the surrounding neighbors and the community that this park really hold a neighborhood scale character. And the last priority we heard, and this was kind of coming more strongly from the hard staff and the board, was that we wanted to make sure that we were not duplicating amenities and programs that might be coming in the future phase 2 improvements. And so as we work towards developing our preferred concept plan, the concept that you see in front of you is really the final iteration. And what this includes is a play area that incorporates the natural sloping hillside that's adjacent to Idina. This play area has on the perimeters of it a walking path that loops to Idina. And then in the central part is the number 5 icon or note, which is the flexible kind of turf play area. You'll see that we've made neighborhood connections off of Totten Street, as well as those 2 connections over off of Idina. The goal is that the primary entrance into the park would be where you see note number 9, that is off of the Idina Avenue. Just to note, the entire park will be secured with fencing, and access will be gated, and those gates will be opened and closed daily by hard staff. We also looked at incorporating seating nodes, as well as lots of opportunities for shade, and then integrating along the edges where we were abutting close to the residential neighbors, some nice vegetative screening buffers. And it's our hope to be able to utilize native plants and pollinator plants to create sort of a softening effect around the edges of the park. What we wanted to kind of bolster is why do we think this concept works? I think through our number of both in-person outreach as well as online surveys and the multiple board study sessions, we really feel strongly that this concept both supports the community priorities, it creates a much needed neighborhood green space, it supports families and the multi-generational use that we know is very strong in this particular neighborhood. It balances the active and passive recreation programming. It also allows for us to continue to preserve flexibility for the future phase 2 planning that will be taking place. And it creates a welcoming and identifiable community space for the residents and neighbors. And with that, I thank you for your time and am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna kind of add to that. The perimeter fence will include primary gated entrances on Idina and secondary entrance on Taunton Street. Staff will also evaluate the feasibility of providing an additional gated entrance along the southern property line with access to the school parking lot. In conclusion, staff recommends that the Board of Directors, by motion, approve the concept plan for the 2652 Virtual Court Laurel Development Project. And I'm also available to answer any questions.
Thank you both very much. And I'll open it up to my colleagues. Yeah.
My understanding is that this is the north or top of it. They park cars in there currently. Yeah.
The south portion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the concept plan is on the overhead, and the portion of the site, the half-acre portion, is actually north of the parking lot. You can see kind of faint lines of the parking spaces just below the concept plan, and that's the parking lot.
Okay. That's good.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Okay. So Director Rosen and then Director Hatcher.
So to build on what was just said, and I appreciate that the staff report, and Marvin, you also repeated it, that evaluate the feasibility of providing an additional gate entrance at the southern property line with access through the school parking lot. This is a priority to me because that's the most common access point. When we all went there to go look at it, that's where everyone drove up. It's just, I don't know if there's issues with the Golden Oak or something along those lines, but we need to, that when it comes time to fully build it out, now that I'm hearing spring 2028, we've got some time to figure that out. But if we can have an access gate there, I think it's going to make the park succeed a lot better. So that's one thing. The other thing, and that's my opinion, I understand. The other thing is, I'm just curious, based on recent conversations about funding, this park is in a environmental justice neighborhood, if I remember correctly. There may be some grant opportunities for, this is probably the only park in Castro Valley that might actually have some opportunities for additional grant funding.
We can look at that. There are actually, we have county park facility fees that have been allocated to this park in addition to Measure F1 funds.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Marvin, Beth, thank you for the presentation. And just clarify, so summertime, this park is open, and if there is no gate going to that parking lot, is that estimated that parking lot would be open for parking for the park during non-school times? Just refresh me if we've gone over that. We don't.
I don't think that was discussed as part of our agreement with HOSD and Montessori, but it's possible that we could revisit that.
Yeah, and I just kind of want a second director, just comment on, the need for that. I mean, this is a neighborhood park, but, that is obviously a robust parking area. So if that could be contemplated, further conversations with the contract with the HUSD, that would be great. And just a question, I have not questioned timing of your guys' projects or our projects, because I know that there's a lot goes into it, but for starting, if we approve it tonight in this form, to start 1 year later, kind of just what would be why would it take a year if we approve the plan tonight? I mean, I understand construction docs and the permitting and everything, but is that year a little bit longer than normal for, that's right on? Okay, then I will rest my comments.
Fair question. And I will add, my support for the access to the parking lot. One of the things that I know we heard from the neighbors is concern about where are people going to park and certainly this is a neighborhood park. The intent is for neighbors to walk and people will drive. And so how do we mitigate that? And so I appreciate I will add support to my colleagues' request to have that conversation with HUSD and the school personnel and so on. What can we do to have gate access, even if it's just when school's not in session or something, and we'll need some signage about that. But anyway, that's weeds. But thank you for that. And, very excited to see this project coming together. This is an area that the community has wanted park space for a long time. And so it's a really critical equity project, as was mentioned. So anything else from my colleagues or the public? Nope. Then I will open up for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Director Rosen, seconded by Director Hatcher on the motion. Do I need to refresh? I don't have.
Rushing.
By any chance on the top right corner, do you see
Oh.
show voting?
Oh, right. I always forget that one. Thank you.
Which one?
Showboating. Yes.
Not showboating. Yes, no, show voting. We are doing that, and that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. To you both.
Thanks, Marvin.
Thanks, Marvin.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And we move on to other business. Or did you need something? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Item 11.3.
Oh, that's you as well.
Oh, sorry. I had turned my page and totally lost track. I apologize. Thank you for keeping me honest. So wait, that was one is the development and one is architectural services to actually make it happen. Gotcha. Please go ahead. Sorry about that.
No worries. The item before you, 11.3, is the approval of a task order with BFS Landscape Architects for the new park site at 2652 Virgil Court in Castro Valley. In February 2026, the Board of Directors approved a task order with BFS Landscape Architects to conduct an outreach process that resulted in a preferred concept plan for a new park at 2652 Virgil Court in Castro Valley, which the board has just approved. BFS Landscape Architects submitted a scope of services and fee proposal totaling $265,191 to continue landscape architectural services for the new park at 2652 Virgil Court. This next phase would refine the preferred concept into detailed construction documents while maintaining the priorities identified during outreach and addressing grading, drainage, accessibility, utilities, permitting, constructability, and cost considerations. The scope includes landscape architectural design services, site investigation and base mapping, design development, construction documents, permitting and bid documents, construction administration, and preparation of an East Bay Municipal District Utility District application for new water service. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors, by motion, approve a task order with BFS Landscape Architects in the amount of $265,191 to continue landscape architectural services for the new park site at 2652 Virgil Court in Castro Valley. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? This item, no? Yes?
I have a question. So I heard that long list of all the tasks that they will be doing. Do we have to do a water budget? We'll make sure that everything's WELO compliant and all that. Is that something we have to do on our parks? And so that's part of this packet then. They will do that and we will have a water budget plan and all the zoning and the efficiencies and all that stuff on it.
Yes,
So we will know what our water use is supposed to be.
correct.
And then we will have the new meters and things to compare it. So we will know, we will have something on our shelf for this is how a park is being watered efficiently. And when we compare it to some other things, we could say, look how much water we're saving, in theory.
Yeah, we won't have before numbers for
Right.
this park, but certainly moving forward, we can compare it to other parks.
Right. All right. That's great because starting from scratch, we can do an efficient lawn, which is something a lot of people don't really understand. But it's a big deal that you can save 30-40% of the water with some of the newer techniques and technology and being efficient and everything now. So that's great. Thanks.
Great. Anything else? All right, then I will call for a motion.
I'll move.
Thank you,
I'll
Director Andretti.
second.
Thank you, Director Hodges. And on the motion. And that passes with 5 votes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for the work.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Now we move on to other business. These are items, reports from my colleagues and from our staff. I will start with Director Hatcher.
Oh, really?
If you're, I mean,
I
I can.
They could put me on the spot, change it up.
Sorry.
Always appreciate it. No, it's good. Good stuff. I only got 32 items that I have to go over here tonight with you. So
That's kind of what I thought. So
no,
let me get you
I'll
going.
go quick because, if you guys just keep, doing so much stuff, then, we're just going to have to keep showing up to this great stuff. But it all starts with HLAC, the Hayward Local Agencies Committee meeting with the City of Hayward, Hayward Unified School District, myself and our President Lamnin represent well with our staff there. It was a good, quick, robust meeting. Just quickly had gone over the youth resource map and the ideas of what that will entail that would involve with the youth master plan. Great discussion about kind of holiday inventory and the planning process between the agencies to get more collaborative on how the work is being done, and then talked about some future agenda items and setting. And there was a discussion about potentially looking at the schools as an park site. In the years past, in the decades past, those schools were open for recreation. And I think that, taking a look at some opportunities with that would be great. And I think that there was a belief that that could be potentially happening. That was a triple go night with the Downtown Streets Party happening and Hard Strong down there with their a variety. I mean, it was a great, well-attended, well-behaved event. Everybody had a great time between the biz zone there with the kids with the business zone and then Hard right in the center. It just shows well. So just again, throw very much thanks to Chaz and the team for putting that happiness into our community. Then cruised over to the Zocalo watch party. Again, just it looked good. The park looked good. The TV looked good. I did sit in the Alameda County Special Districts Association's executive meeting where Jim and I accepted the roles of officers, and thank you, board, for passing a resolution to allow us to get involved with that a little deeper. Then the next week was a Tennyson watch party, or later on that week, where I think there was close to 450 plus people in that park. Again, well attended. It was great. Win for Mexico that night, and it was just good to see again staff showing up strong. I mean, it was the way it was set up, the way the flow was. I mean, it just it goes into care and consideration, and everybody is really appreciative. And I was in Tennyson Park, but got to see Mia and her family out there, which is always a highlight. See them in their park. Went to Patrick's birthday. Patrick Lendenza had a birthday party at the Rail Ranch, and all the funds, or I think a good portion of it, he was fundraising for the foundation. So that was great. Saw Director Lamden there. So bought as much stuff. I have clothing is all Patrick's clothing, so it's kind of nice now to have that. Stopped by the week's 250th. I kind of like to kind of circle back around and take a deeper look at that event. Just, kind of how it's put together. And I mean, it's just I have some questions about that, but it was great to see because it is an event with all the community resources there. There's a lot of the agencies that are there, nonprofits, Keep Hayward Clean and Green. And so there's a really great resource for the community, and just not as well attended, I think, that, I'd like to see that. Stopped by the summit at the San Lorenzo Community Center that had multiple organizations, including Planify, HASPA, in regards to the sea level rise and the reporting out of the different groups. And so it was a nice, very well attended group event for, discussion of climate adaptive issues and the shoreline. I guess it just keeps going. Let's see, I'll just kind of end by, today with the event with Arandas and the mural, and again, staff just really, the city, and they kind of it was really great presentation. Great to meet the president of Arandas, and but to hear again, and I did attend Juneteenth, and I'll just pony those together because to hear city staff and the mayor talk about the premier park district, as being the city of Hayward's park district. It resonates well, and I think it feels good. So with that, I will end short.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being out there. Director Rosen.
My list is not nearly as extensive. I also attended Downtown Streets, and I wanted to say, echo what Director Hatcher said. Chaz's team is amazing, and then Steve with the foundation. We had this whole portion of it was like a hard party right on the side of everything else going on, and it was great. I had a first CARPED Board of Directors meeting, and then I had a legislative meeting the following week. And there were some bills that came up that anyway, but there were some issues of concern, and it was good to hear through a lot of that. I am not on the legislative team yet because the president was unable to make our call. So I could not get confirmed to the Board of Directors thing, so I attended it anyway. I went to the Volunteers in Parks event on Sunday at Christian Pankey, and great idea about having it at the park, one of the parks that traditionally has so much debris and waste. I won't even call it trash from 4th of July celebrations. But in this case, because of the efforts I was talking to Jose earlier today, and because of the efforts of Hayward Fire, Hayward PD, and our team, there were no fireworks lit off at Christian Pankey, including when I went over there, I was talking to our staff. I was talking to Dan, and I can't remember who the other one was that were there at the VIP. They pointed out the house on the corner that is boarded up every year at 4th of July because of firework damage and things that happened that they're worried about. And Jose said that multiple family members and multiple houses came out to thank Hard and our staff, brought out food and drink for them and everything. They're like, no, because they were very appreciative. And so kudos to everyone that was involved with this. This serves as a great example. No houses got burned down. People had fun, and they didn't have the anxiety of potentially having to see something happen in their neighborhood. I also went to along with Director Hodges. We were at the flag exchange this morning. And that was really interesting to hear so much back and forth, and to see a president of Arandas. And it was good to see Mark sharing his clothing options because he had a jacket made for the president as well. And then I want to echo also that when we got up to the mural one, to hear that we are the premier park district in the East Bay, apparently. So that's amazing. I'll take that. So I'll take that as a win. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Director Andrade.
Okay. Uh, I attended some of those same items, but I'll go on. I went to the airport commission meeting with Hayward, City of Hayward, and during that meeting, it was talking about the airport uses and on the former SkyWest, and there was seemed like 20 people each asking that HARD take over the entire site, and not making it basically that it would be open space the entire thing. So but what was good about it, I mean, that is the city wants to pursue the three-part division where the upper third would go to HARD, and that seems to be what they were talking about and explaining. So at any event, it looks, I'm not quite sure what the next steps are, but they're positive in going in that direction, it seems, and we would be able to make, as what I stated was a naturalistic type park that would preserve most of the trees and kind of keep the habitat going, as well as having walking paths. Because I did say I think it could draw a lot of grants because of the for trails and nature preservation and maybe storm mitigation. So it's really a positive project. And then I went to, I think it was the same day as the, well, anyway, I went to, I think it was last Saturday. It was a meeting with, no, it wasn't a meeting. It was a project of the youth ambassadors for the Hayward Foundation. And they did a mural on the back of the maintenance shed. That's over there, the linear maintenance shed. And they were just getting started and getting it organized when I was there. So it's it would take all day, and I didn't see the end product, so I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. And I was just wondering how it went, but it was a lot of people, and I think it was at least 10, 15 students. At Mount Eden, Mount Eden Mansion. So it was cool. And then I went to the at San Lorenzo Community Center, the shoreline event there, and there was a lot of people involved in the shoreline, and then Brian said, "Wait a minute, HASPA's not here." I mean, as a HASPA table, and so he kind of took the initiative and inserted himself to describe what HASPA what HASPA does. So that was positive, and there was a lot of people there, and they are very interested and concerned about what's going on with the shoreline. And it also spilled over to the to the SkyWest Golf Course too. But I think I mean that's positive because there's some great things happening with the what do you call it, the horizontal levee that they want to do across there, and that's probably the next big project. And then East Bay Regional's project is going to be next to our center. And we did. People were concerned about the interpretive center, what's going to be happening there. Anyway, it was a good way to get the public involved in it. And that's all I have to say, I think. Yeah, so that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Director Hodges.
Okay, let's see, on June the 8th, I was at a Zoom meeting for the Brown Act update via Zoom. And then the Bay Ranch Block Party was filled with city they were filled with the city. And that's it. Oh, then I was also at the downtown, and you guys hit it right on the head. It's tempered the whole thing there. It feels more family-like, and owe it all to HARD, I think. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll just add in yes, I appreciated both the HLAC conversation and the joint meeting with the infrastructure committee, infrastructure airport committee of the city. The collaboration, today's Arandis mural was part of that too. The collaboration between the city and the district seems to be going well, and I appreciate all of the work that's happened to move that all forward. It was nice to be recognized as a partner in Juneteenth during the city council meeting. And yes, I appreciated the opportunity to have the conversation around how do we approach cultural celebrations and holidays, and what does that look like in collaboration with the community, as well as to push for some more definition around FAA regulations, and where the airport runoff zone really has to be for SkyWest. So there's some concrete questions and policy decisions, I think, moving forward. I'll take a moment to congratulate our local Books on Bee bookstore for being the best of the Bay. So congratulations to Renee and Books on Bee. And thank you to Hayward Rotary for supporting the Sorensdale Black and White Ball, and to Patrick Landeza, as was mentioned, for supporting the Hard Foundation. So thank you for all the great work, and I will turn it over to Adrienne Lee Bird.
Adrienne Lee Bird, Director of Recreation, Arts, and Community Services. So just a few upcoming events that I wanted to mention. This Friday from 2 to 3:30 at the Hayward Area Senior Center, we have our free band dance event. So if anyone wants to dance midday at 2 o'clock, that is happening. It's very popular. That evening at San Lorenzo Park, Community Park, we also are doing our movie in the park, showing Elio at 7 p.m. This Saturday, we have another VIP at Old Highlands Park. Yeah, sorry, this Saturday. We also have our senior variety show at the DMT. It's our first one ever. It's from 1 to 3. We have about 10 different senior performers that will be showing off their talent. That is from 11 to 3 this Saturday. And then on June 18th, we have Chalk Fest at Unity Park. It's another new event from 11 to 3. We'll be having sidewalk chalk artists and the community doing crafts and making art on the pavement there. And then July 19th will be our final soccer watch party at noon at San Lorenzo Community Park. So far, we've served over almost 900 people through our watch parties. And so this will be the final game of the tournament. And then lastly, just wanted to let the board know that on Wednesday, we will be having a joint staff meeting with the city of Hayward discussing next steps for SkyWest, which will entail just getting more gathering of information. We can bring it back to the board to have a consideration of what they'd like to do next, and getting an update on Valley View Park, La Vista Park. Sorry. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. As I mentioned in the study session, the bids are in for the Ashland Mateo side of Ashland Grove. Ashland East 14th Street side has already been under construction, and it's anticipated to be complete in January of 2027. If the Mateo Street side starts in August of this year, it's anticipated to be complete in summer of 2027. So we'll have an entire Ashland Grove Park next summer.
Good evening, Director Lamnin, honorable members of the board. This is Dwayne Taylor, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. So I have one update tonight. Back in December of 2025, I had started working on a local hazard mitigation grant through FEMA, administered by Cal OES. So I went out on paternity leave, and I left the reins to CJ, and he worked with Adrienne on completing the grant. And so when I returned in February, there were a few things questions we were getting asked by Cal OES as part of the grant. There was a lot of documentation and Adrian can speak to it. It was a very intensive process. And so I ended up speaking with some of my counterparts within this space, East Bay Regional, Mid Peninsula Open Space District, to understand how they put together their local hazard mitigation grants or plans rather, and just really around the funding that they were asking for. The funding for the staff as they work on these grants. So we received an email on the 3rd saying that FEMA didn't have any RFI, so requests for more information on our grant submission. And so Cal OES said that's indicative of FEMA obligating funds for the grant. So in that we awarded the grant. So they said the signature, we're just waiting on the signature from FEMA. They said FEMA has been, significantly slower as of lately, but they said they expect us to receive this grant. And so, we're really excited about this because the local hazard mitigation plan is really the gateway into hazard mitigation grants from FEMA. And so now we'll be in position to apply for some of those different grants. And so we're really excited about what this means for our department. And really the next steps for us is receiving the obligation letter, then hiring a consultant to help us design the local hazard mitigation plan. And then, we'll be on our way to accessing some of these different FEMA grants that are out there for mitigation efforts. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, good work.
Good evening, board members. Rekha Nair, Finance Director. Our exciting event is we are having our interim audit that is going on right now and probably go on for a week or so. And then that will then lead to our year-end process, which is June 30th. We expect to close our books by end of August.
Great, thank you. Anything else? No?
I have
All right, yes.
I just want to remind everyone that our next meeting's not here, right? Just as a reminder, July 20th meeting's at the Aitken Center, right? Yes.
Excellent reminder. Thank you very much. All right. So yes, we will be at the Kenneth Aiken Center on Redwood Road on July 20th. And thank you, everybody. We are adjourned. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Les and Miguel.